Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first episode of Chaos Ensues, the amalgamation of complete and total madness. Are we talking about entertainment? Are we talking about philosophy? Are we talking about politics? Probably not. But hopefully, we'll be here to entertain you and just chat a bit. My name is John. I'm in the US, and this is
James. I'm in the UK. I'm based in the East Midlands between Derby and Nottingham. The weather here now, it's cooler than it was yesterday anyway, but not that cool. I can hear pigeons outside, and it's just a bit humid though, still a bit muggy.
I'm over here in the lovely part of North Carolina known as the Outer Banks, and it's hot as all hell. It's disgusting, it's muggy, and when you go outside, you get sticky, and when you come back in, you smell. That's how the weather here is right now. And it's 3:26 on the PM, and it's July 8th, and it's Saturday. So that's basically how the weather here is in the US. So, yeah,
What
man.
actual temperature? Can you just confirm the temperature there for me, please?
I will. All right. Let me get over to the Weather Channel thing here. It takes like a couple of seconds. Going over to the Weather Channel.
I think we should be checking out quite a few things online today in our new Chaos Ensues sort of presents Twin Peaks Coffee Time. But
yes, this is brought to you by Twin Peaks Coffee Time. I apologize for that, James.
But I think that it's not just going to be about Twin Peaks today. Obviously, it's going to be about just synchronicity and chaos in nature and online even, and whether Facebook as a whole obeys the laws of the natural world.
And just so we can mark it down, on this day, July 8th, it is 86 degrees and sunny, but it feels like 98 degrees here where I live, which makes no sense. Why not just make it 98 degrees instead of saying it feels that way? But that's what it is. I was just finishing. And it's supposed to rain tonight, so there you go. Yes, okay. Go on.
Well, obviously, I've been corresponding with the actor James D. Grigsoni, who plays one of the new police officers of the Twin Peaks Sheriff Department in the new Twin Peaks The Return show. Well, I don't know even if it's called Twin Peaks The Return or just Twin Peaks 2017, whatever. And anyway, he plays, for some reason, my mind has just gone into complete free fall. I don't know if this is what happens as you get older or something, but his character is called Jesse. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Officer Jesse, Deputy Jesse. And see him sitting opposite Chad, who nobody seems to be particularly keen on because he's a bent copper, as we would say in this neck of the woods in the UK. But he's a very nice person, I must say, to talk to online on Facebook. Discussion today about yesterday, what's your definition of consciousness? They shocked and then another face. Right, many people have responded, but consciousness, John.
My definition of consciousness, it's kind of lame. It's just sort of like everything and all that is around you that you are aware of. But that being said, like I'm in a room right now and I'm surrounded by things, my cat, whatever, but there's still things that I'm not aware of, so I'm not conscious of them. But it's kind of a lame, but that's sort of what mine would be, I guess, in layman's terms anyway.
So basically, you're saying consciousness is related specifically to cats, or?
I'm sorry, to cats? What?
Cats.
No. What I'm saying is my definitions of consciousness is basically being aware of everything that is around you. But in essence, there can be things around you, like, I don't know, my cat's right next to me, but I can not be aware that she's there because I'm not paying attention to her. Or like I live on a farm, so there's horses outside, but I'm not aware of that. But in my stream of consciousness is what I'm aware of at this moment. And what,
because you said that you often see the horses.
I like to joke about it, but in all honesty, I really don't see them as often as I should. So.
No, but you don't want to see some of the things they get up to, do you? I mean, it's
no, don't want to get involved with that. No, I don't really. I'm not really interested in the personal life of
some people who are my neck of the woods, and he, engaged in sexual intercourse,
and
then I think he was arrested.
I'm speechless.
What do you think of that? I mean,
was he a very tall man?
I think he was actually a dwarf.
Well, perhaps he needs a hobby. Well, did you ever see that film, Emmanuelle? In one of the Emmanuelle movies, she has sex with a horse, and we get to see it in detail. So, and there's people who are paid to do that.
Well, anyway, I don't want to bring in any more about the horses at the moment because it's not before the watershed. In this country, we have a rule like only the TV after 9 p.m. can be horse sex. So,
oh, good.
Erica Pileggi is just writing to me saying, "I'm looking. What have I got to do with this?" That's a very good question, Erica. But I would just like to say, without you, I wouldn't have bought this fantastic pomegranate body butter from Dr. Organic. Okay. And later in the show, I will be massaging this into my breasts. Thank you. And John, what do you think of consciousness further?
Right now, I'm overly conscious of butter. What is it that you just said?
No, I was just promoting, this body butter.
Oh, my thoughts of consciousness. We were just discussing that, weren't we? Or like, what level of consciousness is the consciousness that we're in now, right now, you and I communicating in the open? That level?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think consciousness can go through, for instance, electric?
I think they can go. I think there's different levels of it as well, but that's like.
And like the film Electric Dreams, where that stars Lenny Von Dolan, who played Harold Smith in Twin Peaks, and in that, his consciousness was sort of intertwined with that of a computer. Possible, and it's.
There's that.
I mean, do you believe in the idea of computer love?
Oh, what, like Electric Dreams? Or
what would you think if somebody tried to insert their penis into a USB drive, or I suppose
what would I think of it?
a USB connection.
As long as it's not harming them or harming anyone else, have a ball. I'm not going to judge you.
But it would bring new meaning to the name hard drive. So
yes, or flaccid in some cases. You never know.
Well, I used to have a lot of floppies. When we had BBC microcomputers in the 80s. But that was before my, computer sexual awakening. And we got a Spectrum 48K, and then I was like playing Manic Miner.
Right.
Just constant state of arousal, to be honest. Because, I mean, as you can imagine, with the title like Manic Miner,
Well, there you go.
The keyboard was not. It was not something which would withstand a lot of very frantic typing or manic, behavior. The Spectrum 48K very kind of poorly made compared to the Commodore 64, but the games were arguably better. So it was a hard thing really, and to sort of fully deal with in some ways. As a sexual awakening in the computer age. So,
well, there are some fellas that like to stick their willies in the 5 point. whatever the hell size those discs are. You know.
Well, I think this was depicted in the new Twin Peaks in the sense of coming through an electrical socket in a exiting, and then that obviously was something of a sexual aspect to it, you know, with the mention of Mother in that room, and Mother is banging about, but you can't really hear what's going, and it's sort of like this threatening presence in a way. It's like he's portraying he's portraying what should be, I mean, we would think of a mother normally as a nurturing or influence, maybe, you know, on a child. Instead, this sort of whole in that magenta room, as Josh called it, was a sort of threatening presence, you know, Mother, the idea of Mother as being some kind of intimidating sort of monster banging, causing all this disruption, and Agent Cooper was just sat there with this woman with no eyes, you know. And then we see again American Girl, who's really Ronit Pulaski from the original show, and then next thing he's sort of being reborn through an electrical socket.
I'm glad you brought that up, because not a lot of people like have really been afraid to go into that darker, deeper innuendo type territory. It was pretty strong, you know. It was pretty fucked up, man. Like, it's just watching this, like.
I mean, I don't know even if like whether if you ask Mark Frost or David Lynch especially about this and how they wrote it and just the sort of it, whether they would be able to tell you, like, you know, intention is, or if it's just sort of more, you know, like if we just came up with some kind of pretty serious, but, you know, just tried to think up the sort of darkest ideas
that we can be that we could be created from anything.
I don't think they're the whole, the darkest necessary ideas, but just whatever we thought up in terms of within, you know, a certain story, I suppose. And they had to have, you know, instead of Agent Cooper just being, I mean, they could have started the new show and, you know, it could have been just, as many fans would speculate and this kind of thing. It's just, you know, we could have Agent Cooper just appearing again out of Glastonbury Grove as or out of the Red Curtains and then coming out into, you know, Twin Peaks again, and that's it really. But this has been far from that. It's far more drawn out, and
I like to think that it's playing a spin on every part on religion, in a sense of like in creationism and in the sense of evolution and all those things kind of like thrown in, as you're mentioning, James, and especially with Lynch's.
Well, I mean, we have Josh on here, and he's a fundamentalist, creationist.
Oh, is he?
Quite proud of his religion, yeah, as well as being a big fan of Eamon Holmes and not Eamon Hanker.
Are we on YouTube right now, Josh? I mean, James, where are we?
Yes, we are now live on YouTube, and I think we've got many viewers already. Yeah.
Can you send me the link?
Erica watching, saying, Erica's written in saying, "What is this channel?"
It's.
Thanks, Erica, for that comment.
No. You can just shoot me the link on YouTube. The YouTube link on Facebook.
Yeah.
Erica, it's just something to just. Nothing has to be spelled out. I think the idea is to just sort of just take pieces of whatever it is around you and just kind of accept it for what it is. We're just kind of just going with the flow and seeing how far chaos can possibly.
I think she may have already left, to be honest, but
oh well, so much for that.
I mean, we have to get subscribers, otherwise no one will really watch. But
all right,
you know, I mean,
should we dump the link in a little room somewhere that somebody will watch, like click on it?
Well, you can post it in a few places. Yeah, I mean, I will post it, for instance, in Twin Peaks Coffee Time. I mean, Post it wherever you want, really.
We dump
Anyway, you think it'll get kind of some views?
Well, it's an experiment. We'll see where we can go with it. I think it's fun. Why not? It's nice.
Erica's sent me 3 question marks. I don't know if this is a metaphor or something, but what do you mean by that, Erica, please? Because we are going to be bringing in a few more topics on this new discussion. John's got quite a few up his sleeve already, haven't you?
Yeah. I just lost a couple in my brain.
Well, didn't you say you wanted to talk about the film, the TV show, What's Happening?
Well, what I'd like to pitch to you, James, is something that we've discussed, and I actually should I'd like to discuss and pick apart at least maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the hit 70s television show, What's Happening. Primarily the one.
Do you think that was a big influence on Twin Peaks, though? Or?
I think that Raj and the gang were huge, huge influences on the show. Yes, I do. I do believe that. And I think that if we dissect and go in dive deep further into it, we can find so much meaning that people will their minds will be expanded beyond the consciousness that we discuss right now. So yes, I will.
I've never even seen What's Happening. So can you explain it to me a little bit and how it influenced
What's Happening is about a bunch of fellas grown up in the 70s who are allegedly poor, and they live in a home. 2 of the fellas live with their mom, and the sister Dee. Dee is a bit rambunctious, if you will. She likes to tell on the brother Raj all the time. She's a bit of a tattletale. Then there's Rerun, who is the
real name.
Rerun, played by Fred Berry, who was sadly passed a few years ago. But Fred Berry plays Rerun. He's a large fellow. He's overweight. He's about my size. He's a big guy.
Why is he called Rerun?
I don't know. That was never explained. But his catchphrase is "Hey, hey, hey." He likes to say that a lot. And then there's Wayne. Was it Wayne or Dwayne? I don't remember. But it was him, played by Haywood Nelson. And his character would just walk in a room and go, "Hey, hey, hey." That was his catchphrase. That was Dwayne.
I thought you said Rerun did this.
No, that was the other one. I'm sorry, my mistake. I confused you and myself.
Oh.
Rerun was a dancer. Rerun was a dancer. He was an exceptional dancer. He could dance like there was no tomorrow, that Rerun. And then there was Shirley, who worked at the diner that the kids hung out at, where they enjoyed a nice burger and a milkshake or maybe a Coke or something. They take their dates.
Do you think the whole diner setup was a influence on Lynch and Frost?
Well, the name of the diner was called Rob's Place, which was very Lynchian. It was a very depressing, dirty little diner.
Rob's Place.
Very bad. Rob's Place. It's usually where the show started sometimes and concluded.
Good.
Now, James, I want you to pay close attention because now we're going into Twin Peaks territory. There was an episode of What's Happening that many people are familiar with, and I'm going to make you familiar. It's where the Doobie Brothers. Do you know the band, the Doobie Brothers?
Yes, I do know them actually. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the show What's Happening took place in a primarily African and American neighborhood. That's where the show took place. It was.
Where was that specifically for those?
It has to be specific. I don't know why they decided to bring the Doobie Brothers onto the show as guest stars, but they said, hey, what ghetto kid doesn't like the Doobie Brothers? So they brought the Doobie Brothers in, and they did an episode where Rerun was hired to bootleg one of the concerts, and he got caught. Oh my God, you think, oh no, what's going to happen to Rerun? You think, oh my God. It was an hour special this episode, let me tell you. So we had to wait another week to find out what happened the following week after. Is that yelling? I hear that.
What?
Is everything okay over there? I heard the yelling in the background.
It's not yelling. It's just people outside.
I just completely lost myself.
The window's open. There's just somebody making a strange noise. I'll just close the window.
Okay, so anyway, for the people at home, the ending of the episode, Rerun got caught and he learned his lesson. And there's another episode that I'm going to make James watch for our next episode of Chaos Ensues, where Rerun joins a cult and he worships a head of lettuce by the name of Ralph. And that is very Twin Peakian. I'm not going to go any further than that. Let me wait for James to get back. James, did you hear any of that? What I just said?
No, it's all right. But I mean, I'll pick it up. You don't have to repeat everything just for me.
This is very important. For the next episode, I have a homework assignment for you. It's only 27 minutes long. I'm going to send you a link to the episode where Rerun joins a cult and he worships a head of lettuce. That is very David Lynchian. This is true. I'm not making this up, James. This is a real episode of what's happening. And we will discuss it and par with Twin Peaks and its in relations. But we won't talk about it until you watch it.
I've never seen that episode personally. I don't know how much. I have a feeling this show was shown in the UK a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be surprised that
it was more polite.
Showed it all here.
It was more polite in the UK. It was called "What's Happening, Sir?"
I think it was just the same title.
Oh,
but, they didn't do an English version, a British version, or something like that of it.
What's happening?
But that's usually the opposite way around. They often do more American versions of sometimes British comedies, but they never really work very well, do they? So.
Well, no, actually, we stole a lot of comedies from you guys. Like Three's Company was a show that we stole. Was it like Man About the House, I think was the name of the show? Originally, it was about the guy who lived with the two chicks, and he had to pretend that he was gay so the landlord would let him live there. It was in the 70s, I think, and it was brought over here to America as Three's Company was the title. And then there was another show called, I think, Too Close for Comfort, with a father with these two beautiful daughters and a wife. It's kind of a weird show to really kind of explain.
What do you mean Too Close for Comfort? It sounds a bit like...
Yeah, it's a bit... What
was it about? It was about the husband...
There was
was often too close to people for comfort on public transport or something.
It was a pretty terrible title.
So they could smell all of their bad body odor or something. Because I personally have that problem where I'm near people and the pure stench of my flatulence, but also body odor, terrible. People have actually lost control of their bowels.
Right.
Defecated and been sick at the same time.
Ted Knight do you know who Ted Knight is? He was in Caddyshack. He played Ted Knight was the star of the show. He was on the Mary Tyler show. One of those shows.
I wish I had one of these video and movie guides, like for TV, but I don't.
That's right. So, we're going all the way back to like 1980 something.
It won't have TV movies in it, will it? So,
it's not a movie. The show. It was quite charming.
Maybe it was too good. They wanted to make What's Happening or Too Close for Comfort in the movies, but they thought, no, this is too good a story. We want to make this into a... How many episodes of What's Happening were there on Too Close for Comfort, perhaps? I think this is important.
Now,
we've now got Dallas Street watching and Erica. Erica's just asked...
Erica, hi.
Is John pissed at me? She says.
Why would I be pissed at Erica? I literally just turned the YouTube screen on, so I apologize if you asked me anything.
Dallas Street, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, we're on a new channel now, but We will be also on the Twin Peaks Coffee Time, but we're just trying to
do a crossover, if you will.
Some different viewers who might want to hear us talk about other things than just Twin Peaks. But, you know,
Erica.
Right now, anyway, there's no new episode till tomorrow night anyway, so we can't really say that much about Twin Peaks unless we just start discussing various things we've seen online or speculating what the next episode will be about, which I don't know how many people really want to hear that.
We're just basically here just not have to stick to any one theme and just have fun. That's really what we're doing.
Fat Albert also says, hey, 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 according to
Dallas is correct. Dallas, do you remember what he said on What's Happening? Because I totally screwed that up. And Erica, I'm not mad at you. I don't know why I would be. What? Natalie and Tootie buy bongs. I don't really remember that episode.
I'm not mad at Erica either, I will just say. But Erica, are you mad at me?
Come on. We've got 3 watchers. We need to bring more people in the room. It's a Saturday. It's 3. It was hey, hey, hey with a different cadence. You're right, Dallas. You are correct.
And he says, also Dallas says, watch the Facts of Life ep where Natalie and Tootie buy bombs.
Mm-hmm.
That episode. But then again, you know, I don't know if they'd show that in the UK because it sounds a bit...
wasn't it Roku?
So, you know, I mean, it sounds a little bit post Watershed. Was it quite an explicit show? What's happening? Would you say?
No, God, no. It was so painfully dry and ugh. It's like they lived in this really terrible neighborhood, but everything was not really that terrible. It was strange. It was like, I mean, I think the raunchiest What's Happening episode was when Raj posed nude for a college so he could make some extra bucks or to meet some chick or something. And he posed nude for an art class and he started making good money from it. That would probably, if anybody remembers that one. Any of our 3 viewers.
Did he massage pomegranate body butter, 100% organic, into his naked form?
I don't know if they had pomegranate body butter back then.
I imagine, but in just maybe not as wide availability.
Dallas Street, man, your television. I don't remember that episode either. There was a Lost Too Close for Comfort episode where Monroe was sexually attacked by 2 women. I think actually maybe I do remember that, unless you're playing with my brain. Monroe was questionable. They never really came out and said, whether or not he was gay or not, but he was in the show.
Why would he have been sexually attacked by 2 women in the back of a van? I mean, what's that all about?
It says there are some YouTube videos about it. It says Dallas Street. I would agree then. I would. I can't believe you remember the bong episode. That's mind-blowing. It's like, I remember the Facts of Life episode where Tootie asks to become a hooker, when she gets stuck in Broadway or something at her diner, and that guy tries to recruit her into prostitution. Do you remember that one? And then the episode ends, and the whole audience is like, "Oh!" It's just like that was pretty cool. I think. What about you, James?
Well, and we just discussed the James Pileggi, not Pileggi, his name, that's Erica's second name. The guy, James, let me just check his name, James D. Grixoni. Not actually James Pileggi, that's a new name of an actor I made up. But he's posted the level of excitement I have for this Sunday's episode of Twin Peaks is so strong, I can only sum it up with this video, and it's the atomic bomb going off.
I thought there was no episode this Sunday.
No, there was no episode last Sunday.
I thought there was 2 weeks of no episodes. No,
there's no episodes for 2 weeks. That means 1 week and then another week, not 3 weeks.
Oh, I forgot Saturdays. All right. Also, there's one
I
tomorrow.
mean, you know,
I'm glad you brought it up because I thought there was no
there's
episode.
no episode for a week. I didn't mean no episodes for 2 weeks.
Wow, it's the end of the world. So should we have speculations? Not everyone else is doing that. Seems to be. I don't know. It's just getting old.
What's the end of the world? I don't know what you even. What are you talking about?
I don't know, James. I'm just trying to upset you. I have no idea.
I mean, if it wasn't for the channel Obnoxious and Anonymous and Cameron, I wouldn't be making videos now. So I have Cameron to thank for this, really, and I have him to thank for me 100% organic pomegranate body butter onto my nipples. So thank you. Live on video. This will be happening very soon. So hopefully that will get more viewers due to the erotic nature of it. You know, if it wasn't for Erica Pileggi and Krista Bell, that wouldn't even be happening. Bell, who plays Tamara Preston in the new show, has said that she likes massaging pomegranate oil into her breasts to give them, you know, just, I don't know, it makes them more, well, you know, whatever. More flexible. No, not flexible. Obviously, it makes them more sort of supported. I don't know. You can't really support them with it does, but anyway, she thinks it does something good. So if she enjoys it, that's all that matters, in my opinion. And that's pretty much my opinion on consciousness as well. It's like, if you think a lot of good things generally, then that's a good thing, really, in terms of the way it will affect you and the way it affects other people. If you go around thinking you're in a depressed state, I mean, admittedly for no fault of your own, maybe, then, you know, it takes two to tango in any situation, though, doesn't it? And, you know, you're kind of partly to blame sometimes, but also very difficult for people to kind of get out of a funk. And I don't mean that in a kind of obviously like dancing type of way or whatever.
No, I understand what you mean.
Like, you know, with Rerun, for instance. He keeps just doing the same dance, for instance. Sometimes it's difficult to get out of that called Rerun. And that probably influenced Lynch and Frost, especially with the name of the diner, the double R, for instance, like Rerun. And, you know, the idea of repetition, memory, and, you know, repeating past mistakes, etc., is very much something in Twin Peaks. Escaping the past, perhaps, which is probably kind of impossible, I think, you know. I think if you've got certain problems, like you're very angry or you had a bad childhood or something like this, you're more likely going to have that for the rest of your life, really. Just how you are able to deal with that within yourself, in a way. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but this is kind of why some people end up, you know, in prison and they're just shoved in a cell, and that's it, because that just keeps them away from other people and apart from other prisoners. And, you know,
do you want to hear something really?
That's the only way that they can kind of cope with life, you know, because they, and then other people kind of imprison themselves. And I think we've all probably done this at some point, where you just want to stay inside all the time because, you know, to handle, or, you know, just even the anxiety of going out and mingling with other people seems sometimes, you know, it's.
Do you want to know what's
so
really?
Yeah, what were you going to say, John?
You're talking about all this like states of consciousness and whatnot, and it's 25 years ago this weekend that this is really, I don't really mean to get too personal, but this is the anniversary that I was abused when I was a kid. I know, bring the house down, but that's true. I'm not trying to be funny or make a joke about that. I was, wow. You never forget these things. You kind of struck a chord when you said that there's things that, you know, sometimes that you can't forget or whatever. I'm paraphrasing what you said. I'm not using it exactly.
Well, I don't think you can. And yeah, thanks for bringing it in, John. Anyway, but it's literally 25 years from this weekend, or
January 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. My parents left me at my dead mother's house.
Oh, so not actually this time, but this time of the year. But
I'm sorry.
we're now kind of in the middle of the year, aren't we? Or even...
I'm sorry. My apologies. July 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. 1982. I was 9 or 10, and my parents left me over there so they can go on vacation. And my dead mother beat the crap out of me. So.
Oh yeah, let me just close my other. I just need to close my other window because I forgot I left it wide open, John. So you can keep talking, of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring it up, and I'm not making a joke out of something, but it's something I take very seriously. And for some strange reason, when James brought up memories, this specific date always kind of enters my mind, and all I have to do is look at a calendar or something, and I'll automatically pop up. And the reason why I bring up the subject, and I don't mean to, and I apologize for bringing it up, is because I'm literally looking at the date on my desktop, because I'm talking on my desktop right now, and it says Saturday, July 8th, and literally within just a couple of seconds, I was like, oh my God, it's the anniversary. So my apologies to the 3 people that are watching us live right now, but that's, when you're a victim of that, it's something you don't forget. But it also makes you realize how human all of us are. And I'm going to be 45 pretty soon. And that was something that happened, wow, it's probably longer than that then. It was 1982, so I suck at math. But there you go. It's actually 35 years ago. Excuse me. It's 35 years ago. And I still don't forget it. I still remember it like it was yesterday. So why I remember the dates, I have no idea. I just think it's something kind of evil. But 35 years ago today. Unbelievable. Sorry about that, folks. I didn't mean to, and I'm not making light of the situation either. It's something I take very seriously, and something I still need to work on. And of course, we ended with a wig.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Bob Flanders. I've just taken over from James for a short time because he's just had to go outside to change something with a bin. I've just been doing some of his dusting for him in the house. So, yeah. Well, it's actually a penthouse flat, shall I say. Luxurious. So, yeah, I don't mean to disrupt what you were saying, though, but I think that, what, in terms of that kind of subject matter, James just filled me in on that, John. I was watching a film called Manic.
Oh, you finally saw it?
With Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it's a very, very good film. Very, very good film.
Yeah,
the picture quality was not great in terms of the. Yes, it looked like it was filmed, on a camcorder almost. It didn't look great.
It was one of the first films to be shot entirely on DVD. Yeah.
It looked pretty lo-fi, didn't it? Let's face it. But
it was supposed to, yeah.
For today's audiences, they would be, a bit perplexed.
Yeah,
by
it was supposed to be shot that way.
The lo-fi nature of it. But then again, it did actually work in terms of the. I've got to take this moustache off. It looks terrible, but the wig, I can live with. It looks good, I think, actually.
I don't understand the mustache.
The wig is very attractive, though. You've got to admit.
It's quite becoming. There you go.
It was sort of a film that was about somebody who had a lot of rage in him, in the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character, and the guy who was his counselor in it, played by was it Ving Rhames? No.
Don Cheadle? What's it?
Yeah, Don Cheadle. Sorry, not Ving Rhames. And very big guy. He's in Mission Impossible 2, isn't he? And 3, etc. But anyway, Don Cheadle, yeah, he played the counselor. He was very good to him and he sort of gave him some good advice, like that you would be dealing with this for the rest of your life, possibly. But on the other hand, it's all about how you deal with it, and the answers being within yourself, not necessarily out there, as in going around just beating everybody up. Because that, what kind of would that achieve anyway, other than, well, it wouldn't achieve anything, would it?
No. Excuse me.
It would just give you, it would make your possibility of, getting a good wig like this be less. Suede jacket like this as well, less. You wouldn't be able to do that if you were out in the streets fighting all the time, or maybe and children, etc. I mean, that would be pretty much. I mean, it would spoil your chances of having some nice baked beans on toast or this kind of thing. Really, I'm not one to moralize, but I think we should get back to the consciousness discussion. What do you think?
I'm not sure where we are right now in the conversation. I think I'm a little lost.
Well, which is kind of we're back with James D. Grigsoni now, star of the Twin Peaks, playing Jesse. Deputy Jesse is one of my favorite new characters in the show, and he posted "Happy Birthday, Ringo."
Okay.
And Gordon Cole commented, "Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love." He also said yesterday, "What's your definition of consciousness?" I thought this was fascinating because some of the fans obviously are very much Twin Peaks fans. One guy wrote, Matt Humphrey wrote, "Being awake," which pretty much made me laugh out loud. LOL.
Being awake is good. Yes.
James Allen Smith says, "I don't know about consciousness, but I was talking to my 4-year-old daughter the other day, and she told me that human being is another word for person. And the being part of the word is really important because a being can be." When she said be, I suppose if you can be, you're conscious. That's what I got from our chat anyway. And I think if you talk to 4-year-olds, they're probably some of the wisest people out there. John,
I'm listening.
Have you spoken to any 4-year-olds recently?
No, not really.
Well, I think you should.
My cat's 5. Does that help? Oh.
No, because that's age. In cats' ages, that is probably age 152. So
that's true. I don't know.
Fact.
Yeah. I spoke to an old lady who doesn't like me. That was fun. Then again, half the universe hates me.
Doesn't like you? Why?
I met this lady at like Independence Day. She was like, "Oh, like, really made me uncomfortable." I was like, "Sorry for asking you a question." I was like, "Good." Very awkward.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the woman was. I can't get into it. It's too deep. Were we talking about?
No. Well, let's carry on with it. And I think that I wanted to mention certain responses on the. I won't name all names because it's probably unfair on people, but the ability to care about consciousness, living in the present. Anything with a thinking mind, yes, to be, but that makes trees conscious too. And in my opinion, they are not thinking minds, although they have their own ecosystem, same as mushrooms and others. Consciousness will also leave your body when you die, but because there is no life after death, in my opinion. Therefore, if the consciousness has left your body when you died, so where is the consciousness not life in some way? Gives the body? Because many people would think that the brain just dies and then that's it. It's just in the earth or cremated or something. So, and it's destroyed. But maybe nothing is destroyed. No.
Maybe we're all destroyed.
Maybe we're already destroyed.
Yes. That's creepy.
To death, in my opinion, is simply the ability to survive for living thinking minds to live. That's consciousness, to live.
Hmm.
I don't know whether I agree with that because that's very sort of almost type of like, sweet, I'm happy, F the rest of you type of thinking, you know, like almost spitting on homeless people or something.
Where are you reading?
A bit, very selfish.
Where are you reading these comments, James?
On James D. Grixoni's actual timeline,
Oh, cool.
the actor from Twin Peaks.
Mhm.
Kind So if you added him as a friend, you would be able to see them, or I don't know if you can see them even if you don't add him as a friend. But anyway, there's definitely life after death and death before life, but we're also egotistical and want to live the penthouse dream. And I don't mean in terms of what, living the dream of being in Penthouse, the pornographic magazine, which is available in this country.
You know they sold it for $1.
That we miss the woods for the trees. Can you get that into this country?
What?
In America, sorry, Penthouse.
Bob Guccione died, and I think his son sold the publication to someone for $1. I haven't heard of it in a while in the United States. I really don't know if they still publish it here.
This conversation, the reply to that was, which basically I was just talking about, like how everything is affected by global warming and the Gaia theory and all that kind of thing, which I personally, anyway, I think our perception of everything is pretty much, realistic, in terms of what we see is going on around us. And when people are observing that the weather's changed, it's not just due to some kind of cycle that's been going on forever or whatever. It's just changed in such dramatic ways within a short period. And it seems quite clear that it's related to things like pollution, etc., and so on and so on, But anyway, no, when we die, that's it. This is a response to me. And most people are assholes. That's just the way it is. I don't know if that's a response to me specifically, me being an asshole, but no hocus pocus, no God, just the way it is. Everything in this universe is connected, yes, but that doesn't mean it's good. Always always opposites: cold, warm, evil, good, weak, strong, etc. But the reason I write this is behind everything. Then that purpose meaning is pure evil. Nothing good about the effed up life world we are living in. But I mean, did a wow face to that because it just took me back a bit, like in terms of the nihilism of it.
Right.
But I might have agreed with that when I was about 19 or something, but not so much now. I find that a little bit too much to, because I mean, I think that many people approach things like that in reality, nowadays, and people older than me, etc. But they're kind of the problem, really, because they're just for themselves or their own sort of small family or community or whatever, and all behaving for others, but within that way, in that way, I mean, then it's just kind of greed, isn't it? Really, just to be making yourself happy purely on the basis that this is all there is.
You mean content?
Yeah, but what is contentment anyway? Because I don't really think that anyone can be fully content. If you were moved to some fantastically big house, or you had your home cinema or whatever, for instance, that would be something that I would maybe want. Then I don't think it would in itself make me happy. It would just be like, okay, that's great. That's my home cinema now. But knowing my personality and the way I am, it would be like I'd end up kind of living in the home cinema or something, and then not wanting to come out, and in there into the home cinema, and then that's it. And it's not really, that's me though. But again, that's very selfish in a way, isn't it, on my part?
Why?
To
If you're like,
it's somewhat like all it is about my own contentment, and it doesn't really.
oh,
But it doesn't really benefit me, is what I'm saying. It doesn't benefit me, and it doesn't benefit others either, because it's just very
if it's making you content,
that kind of. It's a very atomized way of living, and very uh, living in our own little bubbles. And there's a lot of stuff about this nowadays, you know, in terms of.
well, as long as you're not approaching it from a hedonistic standpoint, I think you're fine. As long as you're not hurting anybody, like,
Yeah, I think if you live in a way that you find enjoyable, that's fine. Yeah, definitely, but not. But if someone is just everything is about this kind of living in luxury type of ways, for instance, the whole Donald Trump kind of existence, and you know, having everything gold plated and living in the penthouse type of thing. I mean, that's really what I'm alluding to
well, that's
with
tacky and
that.
disgusting. But yeah,
It's not just tacky, but it's like it's just a waste, and it's also incredibly sort of extravagant. When in reality, nobody needs that kind of sort of you know, just the wastefulness of it all. I mean, just imagine, for instance, the waste of what he did with the Trump stakes business stuff. And, you know, I mean, but that was a failure. Business ventures that he's done, which have just been complete failures, for instance.
everything he's done has been a failure. It's just, I don't think he has anything left that's a success. His presidency certainly isn't one. Um, his businesses are falling apart. I don't think he's going to be able to squeeze much more out of his golf courses. Um, you know, I just don't
There's
see
something
anything.
good for people. It's like somebody like Donald Trump. It's like he doesn't even seem to know himself. Almost, he just seems to have no self-awareness. And I don't know. I just find that incredibly
Disturbing.
a pointless kind of existence. With it's like with somebody like that, if you really knew yourself properly, then I find something quite admirable about people who just go, I want to have a family. I just want to be contented on my own and not have children or whatever, and then live a kind of very modest existence on my own and things like this. I mean, I'm not saying that I am exactly like that, but on the other hand, I just find that incredibly, you know, amazing that some people are like that. But there are other people, and they seem incredibly. It's about them trying to sort of go into some kind of expansion business or something, like with Trump, for instance. You know, just having different children with different women and just and all come out in this, you know, weird. And it's just like, you know, doesn't he ever just look at himself and go, what the hell's happening, you know?
I don't think he's ever going to find happiness, that guy. I really
Obviously
don't.
thinks he's, but he must think he's happy in himself, because he comes across like he is. He's not, he doesn't come across as somebody who's lying to himself in terms of awareness, you know, that would give him. He's clearly not someone who's ever suffered particularly from any kind of depression to any great degree. But then,
Well, we don't know that.
I would imagine with his kind of, you know, and the life he's had, it's always been very privileged, you know. So
There's some kind of
when you have that,
there's some kind of a mental illness going on with him. It's whatever it is. It's really demented. But yeah.
well, I mean, obviously you can get. I mean, a mental illness can be connected to money, and they say it, can't they? Like, what do they call it? Some kind of you know, people who are very, very wealthy, or just it's a sort of in itself.
What privileged?
No, it's kind of almost like a condition. But
Megomaniacal. I know the word. I can't think of it offhand, but I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
no, but it's similar to that kind of thing that's portrayed in that film with Julianne Moore, the one called Safe, where she lives in a very, I mean, she's a privileged person, and she lives in this kind of house where she has to keep everything incredibly, almost like a science lab, clean.
It's an amazing film.
But you know, I mean, if you live like that, I don't really see how you're ever going to be happy, are you? I mean, that's kind of like a self-imposed state in some weird way, you know.
I don't know. I think there's
Because everything is like, you know, this person saying everything does have two sides to it, if not more. But, you know, because you try and be clean or very Spartan in your existence or something like that, but then you don't feel happy necessarily, because it's really not. It just doesn't seem human nature to be like that. But also, I mean, it's proven that if you keep everything incredibly so clean, it's unbelievable. This can be harmful in a way. Body loses its kind of immunity and things like that. So,
do you think that I believe this. Do you believe that there's a point in your life where you will find that contention and you'll just be happy and content where you are? Do you think you'll ever find
you
it?
mean contentment, not contention?
Yeah, I know. Content, where you'll be content and happy and just happy, just where you are. Do you think you'll ever reach that place, you personally?
Oh, you mean me?
Yeah.
I would hope I get a bit more than I do now. Definitely, I think everyone wants, don't they?
Mm-hmm. What would your ideal place of being content be, where you're just happy and comfortable? And
I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to predict, isn't it? But I think that everybody wants that to some degree. I think it's not impossible for many people to hope for it. Include, you know, it's just.
I think we are.
It's just difficult. I think everybody aims for that in some way. I don't think there's many people who want to just sort of like go and live in a, well, as their ideal existence, or go and, you know, live in the Antarctic or something and be Scott of the Antarctic, you know, just freeze to death or something, and that's the
I mean,
that's the ending sort of thing.
I would need a frontal lobotomy and morphine drip to be content. All right, Dallas, that's sort of like something that I would say, but I would agree with that. I think the idea of me for it would be kind of cool. It would just be like, I just want to live comfortably, and I don't need to be wealthy. I don't need to be just maybe find somebody and fall in love. Maybe I don't know about a kid yet. Not quite sure on that one. But
I feel content. I feel more contentment. Well, I don't think to be honest, it's quite difficult to be content if you have a child running around, especially young. But a child will not necessarily give you contentment either, because
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I want
it's
one.
very worrying for people to have children. For some people, anyway. I mean,
I think I'm too old to start thinking about that now. Anyway, you know,
I don't know. It depends how well you feel in yourself.
I don't know. Just the idea that I live in a comfortable home. I'm with someone that I love, and I don't have to worry about my car breaking down all the time, and I don't really need a lot of money to be happy. Just comfortable. That's really, you know, I don't know. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Well, I think most people just need enough to be able to pay for where they live, and then buy food and things like that, and basic needs. But beyond that, having loads of money doesn't necessarily make people happy. It can kind of almost make them more unhappy in some ways. But it really depends on what you want, you know. Like, whereas with me, I never wanted to have a car, so like I like living somewhere that's fairly quiet on the whole, and then also instead of doing this kind of video now. Sorry, John, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
But I mean, instead of doing this video now, then I should be a place, like maybe going in a pub trying to meet, you know, my ideal partner who I could live with or hang around with for 5 years, and then I'll break up with them and then feel sad, you know. That no, I don't think that meeting anybody in a pub would be a good idea anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're worse, you know. But I mean, like, just in general, you would fit perfectly where I live, because it's exactly what you just described. It's very quiet, very quiet. You know, it's hard to meet members of the opposite sex, if the same sex, if any sex in general. And I'm not talking about intercourse, just gender wise. That's difficult around here. But yeah, I don't know. Just be comfortable and just wow, this is such a what's that word I'm looking for? Um
Well, everything, like with, for instance, Lynch's interest in transcendental meditation and things like this. He says that only true happiness is found within, really, and prefer that not to be true in a way. I know that it is true because you could find your greatest, happiest moment just sitting underneath a tree or something like that. Nothing, which is pretty much a kind of a bit like meditation, really. And that could be your happiest moment, really, compared to, say, Vegas and then becoming Mr. Jackpot. How happy would that make you? I mean, if I won like £1 million, then obviously I would be happy in some sense. But how would it change me as a whole? I'm not sure it would change me at all, would it, really? It would just it could make me a bit egotistical and think I was some way, when in reality I'm just not special. And it would make me also more likely to waste the money on quite a few things. Then I would go, oh, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to go and go on that booze-a-thon in that pub or whatever and try to have fun that way. Because all that kind of stuff, just drinking or eating or anything really, can't be as enjoyable as massaging pomegranate oil onto your nipples. Let's face it.
Now, what exactly is pomegranate oil, James? Please share it with us.
Well, I will just say this one by Dr. Organic, which is sponsoring this broadcast tonight, is absolutely fantastic. This is Dr. Organic's
Dr. Organic
pomegranate body butter. And I'm now just going to take a little bit of this and massage this into my buttocks.
That's fantastic, James. That's wonderful.
I'm only doing this for you, Dallas Street.
Oh no, I can't believe he's doing this. I'm afraid to look. Well, here's where the ratings come in.
I don't think this will give us any ratings, John.
We haven't gotten one extra viewer since.
I'm purely doing this for Ringo and world consciousness. There you can see the body butter.
All right, I'm here. I'm not going to say a word. I'm just going to let you do.
I'm just going to put a little bit on my head there. Just put that into the hair there. This creates hair growth, and by the end of this week, I will have an absolute massive afro, hopefully, just like Rerun. I'm now just going to strip naked and massage this into the buttocks. It's now going on the buttocks. Oh, yeah. Get that on the buttocks. Beautiful. Ah, that's so beautiful. Ah.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah. That's so beautiful.
This is clearly disturbing. This is really gross, James.
It's not. I'm not anonymous.
Oh my god.
You bitch.
I looked the way you said that.
You ruined my moment there.
No, I didn't say anything.
It really does promote good hair growth, and as you can see, my hair is growing really well there on the head. On the scalp, on the head.
And what shops
on my beard than on my head. But anyway.
Uh-oh.
What was that?
My phone's lighting up. I'm getting comments on my phone here. What's going on?
No, I'm not doing any creamed corn, Dallas. Sorry.
Dallas, you thick man.
Janie E should have taken Dougie back to the Silver Mustang with $1,000 to see if he was still on a winning streak. Instead, she forbade him from going back. Yeah, I know. Janie E she's ridiculous. She's acting more like his mother than his I mean, she's not acting like a normal woman, is she? Like, if that was my on where it's not a joke, it's some topic about parents, really, as well. And obviously, since Twin Peaks centers around a girl being abused, which is a serious topic, and I don't want to just turn this all into another joke or something, but it's very difficult sometimes to combine our kind of humor and then the horror of certain things, or the abuse topic, for instance. It's very difficult to know how to cross from one to the other, isn't it? Like, how do you do it exactly? It feels really awkward, like one of these news segments where they'll go from like, a really serious story to then, and tonight a cat was found in a tree. Oh, look. John?
Tonight, Fritz with a cooking recipe. Essay by Bobcat Goldthwait. Yeah. It's true. People kind of dribble over the stuff and they don't know how to handle it. And I mean,
no, but I think that in the new Twin Peaks, as much as it's sort of like a little bit pointless to be speculating, and the executive producer Sabrina Sutherland would tell me now, "Shut up, James, you're an idiot," which is fair enough. Or no, she wouldn't say that, but she'd just say, I mean, maybe. Obviously, I'm not like Martha Nockinson, who's an academic writer about Twin Peaks or something, but I think there's something about parents and their influence on us. And obviously, in an ideal world, people's parents should be a good influence on them, right? I think we're all agreed on that.
It'll be nice, yeah.
They inform our consciousness very much as well, I would say.
Well,
the comments I was reading out about the whole sort of, this world is evil and everybody's living in shit or something, and everybody's living in trouble. I mean, I don't agree with that. I think that many people do have troubles, but I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm probably pretty much more with Lynch's way of thinking, in that kind of, everything necessarily isn't ideal in the world, but people are not supposed to be living in kind of pain and anguish and trouble and all this kind of thing. That's not, but he did say, even made some kind of allusion to the whole thing with, Donald Trump, etc. And if people are doing things in life and they're not enjoying them, then really, what are they doing them for? And I think he was making a bit of a allusion to Donald Trump on that one, because he was saying, Donald Trump seems to be doing what he's doing now purely out of almost boredom. Like, as Henry Rollins said, he's just like a bored kind of failed businessman. So, or whether he's failed or not, it doesn't really make any difference. He's just like, oh well, I'll get into politics now. Take the Trump brand to that, and it's like, why? At his age and everything. I mean, I suppose because it's going to carry on, and there's his daughter and all that kind of thing, and just it's not worked. It's not worked, has it? Let's face it. Definitely.
It just sounds like he's trying to please a very small amount of people, because he's obviously not pleasing the people that voted for him.
But I don't think he even enjoys what he's doing. Like Lynch is saying, in a way, that if you don't enjoy it, why do it? I mean, it's not like everything in life you can enjoy 100% non-stop all the time. Like the toilet just then, it was absolutely fantastic, and I really loved every moment of it. But I mean, in terms of a job or something like this, you've got to have some enjoyment in it, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, in an ideal world, perhaps. I know many people do jobs that they really don't like, but I don't know, maybe they find a way to enjoy it in some way. But if they don't, I just feel, bad. But that's a bit bleeding heart, maybe, but you know, like a generalization. I mean, there's many different things you can do in life. You know, your whole life doesn't have to just be about your job, but about the whole thing going back to, you know, the Laura Palmer storyline and abuse, etc. And she sort of suffered that at the hands of her father. Then the idea was that he was abused and in turn abused her. It's a cycle of abuse, you know, or a kind of circle of evil in some ways, as it's all. It's very confusing, the whole Leyland story, though, and I don't know if I've even really got fully to grips with it, because, you know, just the pure kind of evil of it all is almost too much to, you know, the way they're dealing with things in this new show, I think is really interesting, actually, on a almost subconscious level. They're doing it, you know.
James,
it's probably more from Lynch, you know.
James, I gotta go for like 3 seconds. I just need to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
No problem, yeah. Dallas Street, about Trump, he enjoys the fame of it all. Yeah, there is that aspect. I mean, I think that he'd become so obsessed with being like a reality TV star and then The Apprentice, and then this is really like the logical next step, isn't it, really? It's almost like, literally like Benjamin Horne, you know, when he says next step is to run for the Senate, or whatever are the exact words he says in the show. But the hell are you doing with that? Obviously referring to the body butter. It's not meant for the head. Well, I don't know. Well, it is meant for the head, actually, Erica. So yeah, thanks. You're wrong. It's absolutely fantastic. This butter from Dr. Organic, recommended for the head. Thank you, Erica Pileggi and Christabel, for this recommendation. My hair has grown possibly 1 inch overnight now. I was considering a hair transplant, but now my hair is growing absolutely fantastically. Thank you to Dr. Organic. Nothing to do with Donald Trump. So anyway, back onto the topic of Twin Peaks and the new show. I think what I was going to say is that by Lynch and Frost, as it's been intimated by various people, that Lynch has probably done a lot of the writing, actually, for what we've seen in the new show. You know, there are mentions of Mother, for instance, in that scene where Cooper's in that kind of magenta room, and Mother is, instead of being like a good mother, is some kind of monster almost. In terms of the any kind of father in it, I don't know. That's a difficult question, actually. But we do see father, in a way, bad Cooper with Bob rising out of his stomach in what is a sort of almost
okay, sorry about that.
Like a kind of phantom coming from him in almost a sick, kind of not idea based on, you know, the idea of pregnancy, with Bob just appearing like that. But he's in a kind of bubble, so, or in a kind of egg thing. So about the body butter, yeah, you can dip crackers in it, Dallas, but I don't know whether the taste would be that great. Maybe I'll try that later. But anyway, what do you want to discuss now?
I just like walked in the middle of tasting body butter. Is that what you guys were talking about?
Yes, I was talking about, he said, can you dip crackers in it? Dallas asked me.
Oh, all right. That's nice. So tomorrow, July 9th, is, and the episode airs at 9 o'clock of the new Twin Peaks, correct?
Yes, the episode is called, or the tagline for it really is just, yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of that, it could refer again to the, obviously the most likely thing in our minds probably could be the Black Lodge, because of the chairs in there. But I think that some people, well, it may be more likely that going on the taglines so far, which are often just lines from the show, are well, they are always lines from the show. It could be more. I mean, it could be just anything. It could relate to something quite just offhand, casual reference to.
I think
This is
they,
the chair. I mean, it could refer to like. I mean, one idea could be like Laura Palmer's chair within the classroom, but that would seem a little bit unlikely. I can't. There must be something I'm not thinking of that must be quite obvious, but.
I think they have.
I wish we had a lot of people else in this chat, because if I'd done it on my
Yeah.
channel, we would have had a load of people coming into the chat. But unfortunately,
Why don't we do that then? Because my channel is obviously dying here terribly. We should do that.
quick one on there. Yeah, like 20
Yeah,
minutes
because
or
obviously,
something. See if anyone else comes in, because I mean, we've got like the very, very hardcore faithful. Dallas Street has found us, and thank you, Erica, as well, for coming in and putting up with the constant body butter.
Terrible joke.
But this, you know, we had to be sponsored by somebody tonight, and if it's not by body butter, then I don't know who else.
We're trying to do like a bit of an experiment, and we're going to try to like veer off like the entire. Just want to try something a little different, but a little experiment.
I think we veered between seriousness and more, you know, like a horror comedy theme in this one more. With the one we did on my channel, it was going too much into a sort of a insanity. Just every time we came on, people wanted us to be literally dancing around, you know, wearing something.
Oh yeah, and it's getting tiring trying to. Everybody.
It's pretty tiring for me to keep putting on the wig, I admit. But sometimes, I mean, sometimes it works in the right context, you know, to have the wig on.
I mean, people can sometimes.
But I don't want to. I don't want to do the wig over the top. I don't want to be obnoxious about it.
No, just sort of just be you.
No, I just don't want to alienate all my viewers, really, because I have many, 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 many fans who are quite passionate about what I do, and you know that's.
I don't think
that's why I do it. I'm not trying to be obnoxious or anonymous about this.
I don't think you're being. I don't think you're alienating any of your viewers by what you just said.
I would just like to thank Cameron Cloutier and Pomegranate Body Butter tonight for what we've done so far.
Can you only get that stuff in the UK? The body butter?
Dr. Organic. I imagine this is for sale everywhere in the world, but it is made in the UK. So, I mean, there's only so far that these things are probably distributed, but I mean, sorry. It's difficult. I think in the US, they probably do have pomegranate body butter, but it's probably made by somebody like, you know, the Cracker Barrel or something.
Dallas Street wants to know if you feel pretty when you wear the wig.
Not really. I feel more like Butch. It makes me feel more Butch because I think I have quite feminine attributes. Often, you know, I don't think I'm a very masculine kind of guy at all.
Where do you get that from?
I don't know. It's just a consciousness thing, obviously, self-perception, etc.
I don't see that.
Well, I think inside is what I mean. I think more inside, I'm coming quite feminine.
Oh, all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Just be who you are. If you can't be you, who can you be? That is my question.
Yes, that's true. Or as Oasis said, be here now. Although I think that comes originally from some kind of religious text, probably.
Was
and
that
the Beatles.
Was that their most? What was their most hated album? Was that it?
Be here now, probably. I mean, after that, people pretty much kind of much interest in their albums anyway, did they? Because it sort of passed the whole Brit rock type of Brit pop type of phenomenon of pretty not real in many ways. I mean,
well, I think their ego got a little bit ridiculous after a while too. It was getting kind of annoying. It's like, you know, we're godlike. Yes, we're godlike. Shut up. You know, just stop. We get it.
Well, they just didn't have any new ideas after about the first two albums. Really, that's the trouble with Oasis.
I mean, I like Standing.
They just kept doing the same thing. Kept doing, yeah, it's fine. That is, but it looks. But when you just even look at the album cover of it, it looks so American, doesn't it? I mean, come on.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it was so blatantly aimed at the American market. Like they changed their logo, everything about it, and then the whole cover is just like, you know, New York or something, isn't it?
They ripped the title of the album from REM lyric. So,
did they?
Yeah, Kurt Loder actually questioned him about that. He's like, "Do you think you are stealing that from a REM lyric?" And what's his face said something.
I wouldn't be surprised with Noel Gallagher because I mean, he just pretty much is just inspired by everything around him, and he's not very clear about where he's getting things from. But he's a bit like, I will just get ideas from everywhere type of person, you know. But it's also it's kind of really, though, he probably excused it because it's like it's written on coins. It's some kind of like saying in terms of.
It is. It's standing on the damn it. The lyric is.
I don't know. Does it come from poetry or just some kind of?
I could tell you the lyric, but I don't know where it exactly comes from. It is an expression. It's not just taken from
an historical reference, obviously.
It's it's standing on the shoulders of giants, leaves me cold. A mean idea to call my own. 100 million miles.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised that Noel Gallagher would be inspired by REM because I mean, he probably likes REM, but wouldn't probably talk about it a lot, you know.
I don't know.
But I don't know, you know, you'd have to look it up. I mean, they are very different now, aren't they, in the music?
I know they are. Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. I thought they were something. I don't know. I think Jon Stewart made a comment to Michael Stipe about that once as well in an old interview back in the 90s when he was talking to him about.
I think with REM, you know, you could say that with them, sometimes they did just repeat themselves and make some rather dull albums, but I mean, just as Oasis did in a way. So I don't know. It's just like with the Up into that, and it's like some of the tunes on it are just they're barely tunes. It's just so, you know.
Well, that was
maybe that was good. You know, they didn't want to do a tune. They wanted it almost anti-tune, sort of. You know.
Well, that was their first album without Bill Berry, the drummer. You know, that was their very first album. So they were kind of like finding themselves and. I love that record, but they were.
It's more of a mood. It's more of a mood piece than an actual. I mean, it's certainly not Monster, is it, or something?
No, Monsters from the Crotch. I guess if you want to really,
I like it. I like Monster, but you
know, if you want to talk.
Anyway, we'll have to swap over to the coffee time, or we'll take this discussion and audience over to there. I think, but I just need to go to the toilet, to be honest, John.
All right, so we'll go. All right, everybody, we're going to be going over to coffee time. So just switch us off now, James, and we'll meet you all there in about 10 minutes, I guess. So.
It's all dark here.
All right, thanks for joining us on this one here.
Yep, bye for now, everybody. See you soon.
Bye-bye.